Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from every guy, Redonkulous guy, and welcome back to the letter. So in the last episode, we started off with our Ashton's arc, which started off quite a bad start, kind of a lowly start, considering we went to the party, which, we got nothing out from there besides the little ghost sighting though. Yeah, other than that, we got nothing against Luke. Then in the morning, we got to know that, hey, we are off the case, which was just really sad and bad. And then on top of that, we had to say that we are off the case to Professor Clark, which was also pretty sad considering now we know why Professor Clark hates Luke and everything. And yeah, after that, we just kind of decided to help out Isabella regarding, she knows something about connection between BRC and the letter and the disappearances and murders that are going on. And before we went for that, we went to Zach's house, as you remember in the Zach arc, to kind of ask him about, hey, is this ghostly sighting stuff going on with you or not? Yeah, and it is going on, as we saw in his arc too. And after that, we just told him to be careful, and if anything comes up, we gotta have to face it together and everything. So yeah, we start right over here, where let's see where we are gonna go from here already. Except for a few half-hearted attempts to get some kind of a reaction from Isabella, the drive to BRC is a quite awkward affair. More so the hour-long wait for nightfall. So we are going to BRC to investigate about whatever she knows considering this connection that I said. Even with only the two of us, the place is rife with tense energy, only a matter of minutes now. But the ticking seconds don't take away the edge. And for the fifth time, I reach out and fiddle with the radio, adjusting and turning the knobs with no real purpose. Oh, FM 88.5. Okay, it's a nervous quirk I have developed and never bothered to correct during stakeouts. Something to keep my mind occupied during long nights. What else is there for me to do? The person I usually count on for a casual, out-of-the-blue chat refuses my attempts at starting one.
Ash, out with it!
The way she quickly falters into silence after, in spite of the tone she takes though, it makes me doubt if she really means everything she's telling me right now. She hasn't even glanced my way since we arrived.
Having second thoughts? You can still back out if you want.
We're just going to my office. Why should I?
Dunno? You can get in trouble maybe. This isn't exactly legal.
Scope BRC out, see if the real estate company has any more information that may be of help. Find things about Cooper and the other agents assigned to the Ermengarde mansion. According to Isabella, it's the last property the victims have worked on. Sure, I could also check the station for full reports. That's the easy, semi-legal way. Semi-legal. But I don't want to bump into Chief right now. The guys at the precinct will definitely throw me out on his orders as soon as they see me. Not that my plan right now is any better, I'm just breaking into a different place, more or less, with a civilian to boot. The latter still doesn't sit well with me, it never will, especially if this might put her in a very tricky position afterwards. She's been very careful when it comes to her work, almost a model employee as people would say. Why is she throwing caution to the wind now?
I'm not an employee here. I'm not supposed to be looking for any confidential stuff. Only people like you are privy to.
If you mentioned earlier that this is your plan, I might have had enough time to think about it. I already promised to help if you need access to those files. I didn't think you'd want to see them this soon and in this way. Besides, the same goes for you, right? You were taken off your case. Won't you get in trouble with your boss?
Honestly, it's a toss-up between breaking into her office or into the Wright's mansion. As it stands, I will have an easier time getting in here first. After all, why would someone want to break into a realty company? Been here many times before anyway, for a few casual visits when I wanted to bug Scaredy Cat. Over the years, I have grown more or less familiar. I have more or less grown familiar with their security setup and how badly staffed they are. Plus, it's an old building. If the bankruptcy rumors are true, it just means their access protocols might also be outdated.
Still, I can do this on my own, you know.
Really? And how are you even planning to get into our office without an access card? Please explain.
Well, I was going to pry open the card reader and use a gecko.
You're a hopeless case. I really want to know why no one has locked you up yet.
Yet you're helping me with this. Willingly. I don't think that'll sit well with the Philippine embassy either. Chances are you'll probably get deported the minute they find out.
Low blow, I know, but it's worth a shot when she can still turn back. It's not like I don't have any means to get into the place. With or without her, I have a way.
At least I have a reason to be snooping about. My badge and rank can speak for me in case things go south. You?
For a passing second, it seems to work. A hint of panic and hesitation flashes across her features when she looks to me with searching eyes. Then unexpectedly it dissolves, not behind the fear I'm anticipating, but underneath something sharp and searing. I'm not sure what she sees exactly or what she's hoping to find in the shot while she holds my gaze. All of it merely goes unspoken, and no longer than a minute later, she simply averts her attention back to the window, training it once again at some point outside.
Isabella, please, now's not the time.
It's too late for that, Ash. Give it a rest.
An appeal, spoken in a voice too harsh coming from her, perhaps unintentional, perhaps one that's already too exhausted of everything going on lately. It's hard not to concede when she takes on that tone, and soon, despite myself, I sigh. Tucking away every concern I've been lugging around in favor of trusting her on this, according her the same confidence she has implicitly given me all this time.
Alright, okay, if that's what you want. And don't worry. I didn't mean what I said earlier. I won't let anything happen to you.
Her lips briefly turn up in a smile, though none of the cheer reaches her eyes.
Just get this over with, okay?
Oh, sorry. Just get this over with by now, that's what she wanted to say. Somehow, the uncertainty in her posture makes me wonder if she intended it as some kind of comforting gesture. Yeah. Whether it's for me or for her, she doesn't let me out. Without saying another word, she exits the car while I am left scrambling and chasing after her. She's already at the side entrance, a hand raised on the card reader beside it, and another poised to push the door open when I catch up to her. Whatever doubt there has been in her face a while ago, it's gone. Seeing her like this makes it easier to believe my worries are unfounded. That things might go smoothly this time.
And where do you think you kids are going? It's late. Most offices in this building have already closed up shop for the weekend.
The bloke seems friendly enough, though one can't really tell from his voice alone. He might be the very sort for all I know. Keeping an unconcerned face and aloof air won't hurt until I figure out how to wiggle us out of this situation.
Just come back on Monday if you have important business.
But from the way Isabella's face brightens up, it looks as though getting through won't be too much of a problem. He's probably been working here for a few months already, then maybe around 4 to 6 months max. Otherwise he would have recognized Isabella or me at first glance. I haven't shown my face here since I've been assigned to the firm case a year ago. In the first place, none of the security officers ever lasted a year in service. The longest was around 7.5. Okay, I will give this guy around that before he gets fired or finds a better paying job. For the moment, his too friendly attitude is almost a gift.
Hey, Seb!
Oh, look who we have here. Been a few days since I last saw that ponytail in here, Santiago?
Close enough!
Wait, don't tell me yet. I'll get it right this time. Sanchez!
You were closer the first time?
Drat. I swear it is on the tip of my tongue. I just need a hint to remember.
I take it back. This Jesus not going to last past this month. He can't even remember a regular employee's name.
Alright, I'm sure of it this time. Centillon?
Still a ways off, Seb.
Isabella, we don't have all night.
I know, just let me handle this.
Yeah.
Sorry, Seb. Some other time. We're in a bit of a hurry. I just need to get a few things from my cubicle. Important work stuff, you know? Is it okay if we drop upstairs for a sec?
Oh, absolutely. No, go right ahead. As long as you have your access card with you, we're good. Not sure if I'm allowed to let your boyfriend in, though.
Who, me?
My what?
Your boyfriend. The guy with you, isn't he?
It's a fair observation, if I do say so myself. Needless to say, the silence that descends is both uncomfortable and terribly awkward. Although the latter is probably coming mostly from me, because in the next second, Isabella laughs. Laughs. Lighter than the ones I have heard from her lately. A comforting sound, really, after seeing her in such a dour mood since this morning. Even as all of it subsides into mere chuckles sooner than I'd like. It's comforting to see that I'm at least partially responsible for it, despite my poor heart being beaten to a sorry pulp. Aw.
Oh. Oh, no! No. He's definitely not my boyfriend.
She might as well have set it on fire and reduced it to dust while she's at it. Frankly, the number of no's in that sentence alone is a bit too much. Christ, one would have been enough to get the message across. Did she really have to put it this way?
That's impossible! Stop being funny, Seb. I'll go on ahead, okay?
She quickly shuffles inside with nothing more than a small wave, leaving behind an even more awkward atmosphere for me to wade through. It would have been bearable if I didn't have to suffer through a stranger's amusement. Alas, woe is me.
Not the boyfriend, but close to it, huh?
Mind your own business.
Kids these days. Good to see her up and about, though. Thought for sure she'd up and disappear like the others.
Excuse me?
You know, stuff in the news.
You mean what happened with Rose Cooper?
If I'm going to be stuck here with him for a while, I might as well try to gather as much intel as I can. He may be just a guard, someone with no real authority, but most of the time, people like him are the ones who know more than they let on.
Yeah, but even before that, we've got a couple of good blokes we never saw again.
Really? Those guys could have just resigned for all you know.
Dunno, I only catch tidbits of stuff from over here. Though seriously, I heard the branch is getting flushed soon, but that's no excuse for anarchy. Figures why Boss Man's been in an awful temper these past months.
They managed to strike a good deal with the mansion in Ansem, right? That didn't do the trick?
Didn't seem like it. The bloke shouting like no tomorrow again. Wasn't very pleased when Gurley called and asked for another leave yesterday afternoon.
Gurley? Isabella?
It's not too surprising, considering she's already been gone for 3 days, now she's asking for another. Not that it's a bad thing, it's within her rights as an employee, but Isabella rarely uses her work leaves.
Yeah, poor lassie if you ask me. She found him a buyer for that mansion after all. The least he could do is be considerate to her after a family member's passing.
Wait, what?
The rumors, PRC, Rose Cooper, missing in action employees, all of it ceases to matter in that instant. Almost on instinct, my eyes zero in on the intercom speaker as if staring daggers at it will show me the man behind the voice so I can see the truth in his face and myself.
Oh, you don't know?
No, what?
Nothing. I shouldn't be the one you're asking, and, things might get a bit boring here. No one really wants to hear what a poor old guard wants to say.
No!
Why don't you just go after her? As long as you're not looking to create trouble for me, it won't be a problem. You aren't here for that, right?
He's lucky I'm not here to hurt anyone. If I were someone with ill intentions, he might not be smiling at the end of the day.
Well, no, but...
I'll go and unlock that side entrance for you then. Just don't forget to turn off the lights before you both leave, okay?
Hey, wait a second. What do you mean by...
He cuts off the connection before I can finish, and the rest of my question dies in my throat. Soon the latch clicks and the side door swings open. What did he mean by
family member? What? T-Sep, a stout man wearing a uniform still too loose for him, waves me over from the gap before he disappears behind the station again.
Just my luck, here I thought I'm going to have to count on whatever Isabella brings with her. Although no matter how much I want to feel happy, something else has already taken a firm seat in the forefront of my mind. Is that why she's been acting not like herself today? Since when? Of course, as I step into the building, I try to push all of these questions as far down as I can.
I need to focus. Work is work. But
if what I have heard is exactly what I think it is, if it's a sign of things to come, honestly, I don't feel too good about that. Yeah, I don't neither. It's a quiet ride up to the 7th floor where the BRC Luxburn main office is. Seb has been kind enough to switch the guest elevator's power on just as I'm about to head for the fire exit stairs. which is a welcome relief. I'm an active guy, but stairs, I don't want to tire out too quickly in case things get ugly. There probably won't be any trouble with the building this quiet, but you never know. I swear the whole place definitely feels eerie at this time of night. Any office type, school type place feels like that only, boy. But until I've confirmed anything, those are still just stories. Worse things can happen. No need to scare myself. Staying calm means fewer mistakes.
Oh, I sure am gutsy, especially with what I'm doing.
I'm breaking a lot of laws here. I'm also putting Isabella in a lot of risks. Best thing that can come out of this is that Isabella's right along. Worst case scenario: 1. Someone finds out Isabella's involvement in this and her boss fires her. 2. I find evidence that would implicate BRC or look right in a crime, and my meddling, if I'm not careful enough, makes it inadmissible in court. Though I will be honest, I strongly prefer losing my job or facing right over some spirit or ghost or whatever it is. I could always work around the problems with the farmer. Isabella could also find a better job. BRC never did pay her properly despite her efforts. But fighting off a phantom? How does one even do that? Do guns even work with them?
Yeah, not going to happen.
Let's see. But tonight I'm here to fix things. If I do it without leaving a trail, all the better. Good thing that's what I'm good at. Okay. Wow, yeah. We are back to that crazy office where the crazy stuff happened. Let's go. What I will probably never be good at is finding the proper words when a stitch calls for it. Yeah, sorry, not stitch.
But seeing Isabella's small form beyond this door, how she pushes through despite carrying entirely different burden this time.
How she's pretending as if everything's normal, it's difficult not to try. People who have never looked beyond her smiles will never know. They'll never understand. Hell, even Rebecca is probably not yet aware of this. I get it. We have other problems at hand. I've done the same thing plenty of times to protect myself, after all. It's all in her eyes when she glances up at the few light raps I give the door. She wastes no time in leaving the mess of paper on the table and opening it for me, though even her confusion as she takes in my presence barely hides it.
Seb, let you in?
The rough edge in her voice rings a whole different tune now that I'm aware why. But knowing is different from hearing it straight from her. I can't simply bring this up, can I? It's not a topic suited for casual conversation, and I doubt she wants to talk to me about it. As much as I want to help, there's a distance between us I will never be able to cross, one that wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for me. Perhaps if I had been more honest years ago and less of a coward, I might have been able to. Figures I couldn't even do that for the one person I keep telling myself that I care deeply about.
What can I say? I'm a very charming person.
To a rock, maybe.
This is the closest we can get to it, I suppose. The light banter, the fleeting glances, or sometimes the long bouts of silence. And it's enough. For me it is. Because even without words, there's comfort. With her, it's easy.
Must be a pretty cool rock then.
Ugh, get over yourself.
Hey now, I deserve some slack here. Today's supposed to be my day off, and yet here I am helping you out.
Helping? By standing at the door?
Well, you're not exactly letting me in.
Despite what she says, she moves to block me when I try to enter. She must have expected this the second we walked up the building's entrance and counted on the night shift guard to bar me from the place. It's reassuring to know she's somehow worried about me, although it's a bit misplaced at the moment. Besides, her concerns aside, I really can't let her get into the thick of things without me. Not with all of the problems on her plate right now.
Isabella?
Seriously, Ash, Seb might get in trouble for this. You might get in even bigger trouble with your boss.
And you're not? We've already talked about this back at Zach's. It's out of the question.
At least do it for Seb, please. He's a really nice guy. With the way things are going here, he's...
On that, I agree with her. Seb's not such a bad fellow. Might be a little careless with his job and talks too much, but he means well. I'd hate to see the guy leave here with a bad record in case something goes wrong. However, the anxious look she shoots back the table behind her bring an even bigger worry.
Did you find something? Aside from what you told me about yesterday?
Not yet. I'm not sure. I haven't started going through the files we have in the records room. Just the ones they handed to me and Rose.
Let me see.
Wait, Ash!
Isabella, I already promised you that no one's going to get in trouble after we're done here. I'll make sure we leave the place clean.
Yeah, even Sam, that's what I saw. Sorry, I skipped pretty early. Her hesitation's still there, a split second of indecision as she tries to form an argument. Eventually, when nothing comes to mind, she steps aside.
Okay, but we can't take the original files out of this office, clear? Not even a single sheet. We'll just have to make a copy.
Don't worry, that's the plan.
It appears to reassure her, a nod. Then shortly, she gestures for me to follow. Passing the sea of cubicles, I can't help but take in everything in their office, a force of habit for the most part. As far as I know, BRC Luxburn used to own this whole building. Offices in several floors once upon a time, when real estate is still a lucrative business for the company in this side of the country. Then competition showed up and suddenly everything's not so good anymore. It only got worse as the years went by, or so according to the rumors. Now the branch is just this floor, despite what the huge sign in the building's facade says, and frankly it's not too hard to believe when one looks at the state of this room right now. A number of desks have been cleared out. Personal mementos are scarce, as if the employees have gone on an exodus. That will be the downsizing. Probably. Still worrisome though. Of course, I shake away all of this when Isabella starts handing me the papers she's been looking through. Focus, Frey. There's no point in whining or dwelling any longer on it. That's why we are here in the first place, to find out what the real deal is, the old-fashioned way. Isabella's presence is a whole other blessing too. I couldn't imagine how long this would take if I pushed going in here alone.
Is this everything? Where are the documents you mentioned?
Still locked up in the records room. Do you need them now?
Bring them here. Everything that has to do with the mansion's sale. Even those who worked on it during the renovations. The cleanup, everything. Including your mandatory sign-in sheets.
It's an odd thing to bring up, but... It's an odd thing to bring up, but at least it elicits a laugh from here before she heads for the records room. She remembers, and no matter how weak the sound of it is from her usual ones, it's a welcome thing to hear. It reminds me that the Isabella I know is still in there. She returns minutes later with a thick stack of folders and binders. For the next half of the hour, we work in complete silence while we dig into everything compiled in the folders. Not an easy task considering how thick the whole thing is, but there's two of us. In fact, Isabella does most of the work, sorting the contracts, the employee list, and the stuff we won't need to into a neat pile. Just the files for the restoration alone makes up a stack of papers that's an inch thick. Third-party service providers hired by for the masonry, radiators, woodworking, plasterwork, slate roofing, and a whole bunch of other things are well documented. Well, every single contractor who worked on the project were listed individually, even if they were just there to do the plumbing. It's a high-profile and high-cost estate, alright. But with that scope comes the loopholes. Means plenty of room to hide something in if there's something fishy going on. All I have to do is find a pattern, and it doesn't take long. Upon closer glance, despite the original owners shouldering the renovation cost, it will be surprising if they have managed to break even on the Ermengarde mansion. What with the additional expenses for the open house, the commission for their agents, and other overhead fees, at one point the negotiations to get it listed under BRC's name almost broke down too. Some disagreement about the listing price. The owners wanted to be rid of it as quickly as possible while keeping the worth at a profitable level. BRC was insisting on a higher amount, double what the appraiser suggested. This, plus the rumor that their branch is closing, BRC Luxburn really is in the red, and the sale of the mansion could have easily been a desperate move to keep the branch afloat. Yeah?
No wonder the final sale happened as fast as it did. Did you know about this?
No. They took it off our hands after I submitted the final documents for the sale. I didn't even know until I read this. I'm not sure if Rose did. I've only been given the key to the records room after she... Anyway, my point is, they've kept all the files from me. Rose was the one who compiled everything from our side. And even then, she was probably not aware of this. There's only so much they let us know. After that, they just told us to wait for our commission, and that the legal team would handle the rest. The rumors are true. Huh.
Seems so.
Sheesh, this place is just unlucky, going bankrupt while the rest of this crap is happening. But this isn't what we are looking for. What we need is the who, the people aside from Isabella and Cooper involved in this business with the mansion, and the how they are now. We can't do much with the outside contractors, they won't be on file. The employee list on the other end, even with 2 people working through the pile, the whole task still takes quite a while. It's a quarter of an hour later when we put down the papers with a sigh and move on to the clients upon Isabella's insistence. For that, the sign-in form from the open house comes in handy. What is this? Something that gives me a laugh when I spy the fake name I wrote on one of the sheets. Hannah Wright, Luke Wright, Richard Frank, Osai Winter, Ashley Charles, Listeners. I am sure it's not written that way only. Marcy T.Y., Lawrence Stiles, Madeline Williams, Beatrice Relay. Okay.
Why'd I even pick this name? It sounds so lame.
What name?
Nothing important. Just focus on those papers you have. We need to finish this soon, before Seb suspects anything.
She snatches the paper away before the thought of hiding it occurs to me. Not that there's much secret in it. Isabella found me that afternoon anyway, but still.
Ash Lee?
I have been careless that day, tailing Luke Wright without confirming where they were headed off into. While the butler is terribly efficient in keeping the Wrights' engagement from the public eye, there are other ways if only I have given it the time of my day. In retrospect, I have been too eager, too impatient to find something that will crack the case and be done with it. Maybe my failure goes as far back as the day of the open house, not during the party last night.
Yeah, well, I was pressed for time.
Seriously? Ashley? Were you even trying?
Oh, come on. You didn't even notice I was the one who wrote it down.
Of course I wouldn't. Only an idiot would use his real name.
It worked, though. Admit it. It's genius. Who would have thought, huh?
She responds with a roll of her eyes, then drops the matter entirely by shoving the paper back to my hands. Okay. We lapse back to our respective tasks afterwards, wordlessly skimming through everything, read, set aside, get another one. Looking back at the sign-in sheet, I spot Luke Wright and Hannah Wright listed up top. Not that I don't know about them already, of course, but scanning through the list, a name immediately comes to my attention.
Madeline Williams.
Something wrong?
Huh? No, just that I remember this girl listed here.
She frowns, moves her seat closer, and takes careful read at the sheet. There is a long moment before she speaks up again, but from the way she tenses, she appears to be expecting the worst already.
What about her?
She was with me, in the group following Cooper, when we toured the upstairs part of the mansion, I mean. Rather loud one, especially when we took a peek into the attic. Kept talking about the ghost stories the whole tour.
Then, do you think she's...
She was reported missing 3 days after.
There was a ruckus at the precinct the day her family filed it. Threats were naturally given at the lack of progress days later, desperate ones. Her family is willing to shell out all the cash they have just to find her, to no avail unfortunately. Officer Benjamin has been in a bad mood ever since he spoke with them, but what can he do? What can we do? He's tired. We are all tired. There is only so much we are able to do with everything that has been shoved into our hands recently.
She still hasn't been found. It's already been a week.
Isabella makes no further comment aside from a nod. Instead, she sits back on her chair with a distant look in her eyes, her hands balling to a fist as she struggles with her frustration. I wonder, it's not the ghost. I don't think so, but could very well be a possibility that BRC is actually pulling off the murders to shut down all the people who are spreading the rumors about the mansion being ghostly and everything. But still, I guess now that the sale is done, it kinda won't make sense, but still, there's little that possibility too, considering BRC is pretty desperate since it's going bankrupt and wanted the sale to be the big thing. Let's see, or maybe it's anger? But the moment doesn't last too long. Soon her grip loosens and she folds her hands back on her lap. Her expression, however, is one I've seen too many times in the mirror. What does one say to a person burdened not by one loss but many, who carries it in her shoulders like a badge of shame? I've yet to find the answer to that myself. Until then, the only way is forward, press on to see where our attempts at fixing our mistake might lead us. And despite my own doubts, a glimpse of that looks on her face is enough reason for me. I can't just give up. There's too much at stake, too much to lose. With a renewed focus, I continue. On the third and last sheet, I spot another one, Beatrice Wild, one I recall from the newspaper obituaries. Died of a heart attack. A letter of correspondence expressing condolences to her family confirms as much in her files. Passed away at aged 74 in her sleep.
She's at that age. It certainly could have been a natural death.
Right? I'd like to believe so. But 3 more letters turn up when I rummage through the stack, and it leaves nothing more than foreboding feeling in me. They're all addressed to families of clients who have passed away in the past week. Regardless, this go into the pile of things worth looking into after our visit here, along with William's info sheet. There are just so many names, so many faces, each one I've seen that day, and here I'm wondering if they're all right. It isn't a selfless thought that brings the question to mind, rather it's the logic that if more of them are still alive, the more people I can choose to question. Nothing's concrete yet, of course. These are just speculations, but we are making progress. Once done with the sign-in sheets, I stash it along with the growing pile to my left and pull out as many of the other documents Isabella has already prepared for me. Okay. We are working through the employees list now, those who have been assigned to the mansion. Because if Isabella was to be believed, if what she's seen and what happened to Rose Cooper is because of that letter, I need to know everyone who has possibly read it aside from the 3 of us, if they have been noticing strange things too. For all I know, this may have just been a terrible coincidence. Although the thought of that starts to diminish as we dig into BRC's company's file. 15 minutes later, the stack close to my elbow has risen from 5 to 21 different dossiers. Client and employee documentation, people who have either visited the open house or worked on the property in some capacity since the letter's discovery. Turns out there were 2 more employees who handled the mansion directly aside from Cooper and Isabella. Christian Sy, the realty specialist, and Mark Zulius, John Murray, the estate appraiser.
This C guy, he was in custody just the other day.
C guy, okay.
Really? Sir John has been looking for him. He stopped reporting to work a few weeks ago. Are you sure it's the same person?
Yep, this is him. Folks at the precinct said they went to his house after a noise complaint. They found him just acting all crazy. Had to take him in when he started getting violent. He kept screaming about a woman.
Immediately she stiffens. I don't want to bring it up or imply a connection to Isabella's story, but that is exactly what happened.
It was driving the guards mad, but he didn't last too long in there. A few hours in, and he just started bashing his own head against the wall, and, well, it was messy, to say the least.
Oh no, we had no idea. Is he okay? HR just marked him as AWOL because none of their calls would get through.
He's in the hospital right now. I heard they're putting him into a psychiatric ward as soon as he recovers. He's still a bit unstable.
John Murray, on the other hand, his employee file notes his date of leaving and even when his final payment had been given. Along with it, there's a letter to his family about the appraiser being found dead in the office. Communication is hush-hush and there's mention of compensation if they don't talk about it to the media. Inspector Abigail has often scolded me for not reading the reports on a regular basis, but I try to keep up to date as much as I can. When I do, I make sure I'm aware of the gist of what's going on in my city. This never reached the police ears or the health and the safety executive.
Do you know about this guy?
One glance at her says everything. They have hidden it from the media, they've kept it from the police. It's not surprising, this will also be a secret from someone of Isabella's position in this company. Oh my god.
Rose was looking for him. Last week. We haven't heard anything from him either. Until now. They never mentioned this to us.
Yeah, BRC is hiding stuff under the rug when all the things that are going wrong though. Business going under and someone dies while working here, of course they want to keep that quiet. It's bad publicity. This whole thing is just getting freakier by the minute. Nevertheless, I hand the files for Isabella to make a copy of.
The pages with their names, addresses, and contact numbers will do. We'll start with the ones who live within the city.
Sometimes there are things you really can't just brush off as mere coincidence. In my line of work, once a pattern pops up, it's only right to be suspicious. Especially the thing with Sai. It hits too close to the stuff my own friends have been telling me.
All of this?
It's considerably thinner than the one she brought in, yet somehow the way she hugs the folder close to herself makes it seem heavier. Like she's hanging on to it in the same manner one will latch onto a lifeline.
Only the noteworthy ones.
And those that might still be alive might. She doesn't need to know that.
We can't check the outside contractors, but the guys with the direct connection to BRC and the people who attended the open house should be enough. We don't have time to see how everyone's doing, especially if what you said is true.
For a second, she appears about to argue, then quickly decides against it and hides it away before anyone reads the question in her face. Then, in a too abrupt motion, she turns towards the copier and gets to work. Soon only the machine's constant thrum fills the air around us while I keep myself busy cleaning up the mess we have made. The lack of talk is awkward, to put it mildly, disturbing at worst. I've gotten so used to letting her just babble away whenever it's just the two of us. I could tell, however, she wants to do more. She wants to fix this mess herself, and that desire makes her antsy. But at the same time, she's learning how not to be impulsive or stubborn, exactly as I've told her yesterday before agreeing to any of this. Or maybe these so-called changes have always been with her. Dire situations have always pushed people to change, after all. Although seeing this happen in front of me only makes it difficult to find the proper things to say. In an atmosphere this tense and charged, what is left for us to talk about? Certainly not the news. What's worse is when you only realize all of this in hindsight, right after you have already ran your mouth off, I guess.
You know, for a house your company seems to be in a hurry to sell, they still made quite a fortune out of it. Look at this. 1, 2, 3... 6. Are you sure they're planning to give your entire share for this? This isn't a small amount, especially given the usual cut. And their accounting department isn't in the greatest shape either.
Even if they don't, it's not like someone still needs it.
And there's the reason why people don't let me talk. Silence once again descends throughout the room, denser compared to the ones we have shared tonight. Behind me, I can still hear her movements, sharp and precise, while she feeds the originals to the machine. Then, with one last click, all of it stops. Her feet shuffles lightly against the floor when she moves away. Something creaks softly, probably the table, as she settles her weight against its side. By this time, an apology is already at the tip of my tongue, but...
Well,
Papa's gone, Ash.
Within those scant few seconds, everything between us shifts as the gravity of her words sinks. Right then and there, something harsh and immovable rises between us. That is something I'm familiar with. Almost 10 years in the police force, and it's impossible not to be acquainted with it. And yeah, I guess that's what Seb, the security guard, was talking about, the family member. But this is different from those dead bodies we examined forensics, a far cry from the victims we have found on a bad investigation. Those I could easily distance myself from, no emotional attachments, no need for pretenses. Yet somehow I still find myself grasping for things to tell her, any words of comfort that will dull the pain. Because even without looking at her, her grief feels palpable enough, her pain, an immutable weight hanging over us. So gently I offer, okay, let's make the choice then. I guess it's better to talk to him about her father, as that would make her kind of take out all the things that she has kept inside her, rather than just staying busy and maybe she just Still keeping those things inside and not letting this out though.
When?
Huh? When what?
Your dad. I mean, when did you find out?
She doesn't answer. Not immediately anyway. For a long moment, the hush simply stretches out before us, spanning across the seconds we let pass while we both simply stand there, waiting. Eventually she exhales, lightly, muted enough that I might have missed it had I not been paying attention to her every movement.
Yesterday, around 3 in the afternoon there, Mama called. She told me he passed away in his sleep, and I guess I can take comfort in that, huh? That Papa wasn't in any pain when...
She trails off, releases another ragged breath hidden underneath her chuckles, each one's mirthless, heavy with nothing but sorrow. Then she falters into silence, and for all my attempts at lightening her burden, I am suddenly at a loss. Reassurances could only do so much when her only reason for staying here has suddenly been taken from her, a hope yanked from under her feet right after it was generously given. And without the one person who pushes her to endure this, all of the crap she's going through, means nothing but a struggle. What does one say to a person fraying at the edges, slowly wearing thin and breaking? Are words even enough? What right do I have, anyway? I cannot give her anything apart from lies that changed me as a person and affections she may or may not even want for herself. Because no matter how easy she has wormed herself into our lives, how immutable her presence has become, her own heart will always yearn for something else. For home.
Tell me about him.
Huh? About what?
Your dad. Tell me about him. Anything. Just talk. Say anything you want. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll listen.
Silence again, as if she's testing the weight of my question. For what purpose it is, for a reason even I can't say right now. After a while, though, she starts, reluctantly, her voice hitching, faltering, and stumbling on each syllable as she chooses her words. A rough start, but soon it steadies. And along with it, to keep company, the stories from childhood and memories she's fond of are the tears. Despite this, in spite of the grief choking her words off, the hurt closing her throat, and the sobs racking her lithe form, she continues, like the mere fact of speaking is a relief in itself. A release. She tells me of her father, the very person who named her, how she looked up to him, how she was a bit of a tomboy growing up in her attempts to imitate him. Yes, it's very important to get your feelings out during this situation. That's why I feel like this choice was better. And how the man encouraged her to pursue what she really wanted. Perhaps even the only thing she ever did for herself, having grown up not wanting anything more than food to put on their tables.
He told me I don't have to listen to them. That I can do what I want. Every day, he'd wake up at 4, Ash. Because he'd earn more that way. And every single time, he'd give them to me. Whatever extra he earned, he'd hand them all. So I'd have something to use for my paintings. And you know what? Back home, just a good tube of paint costs almost as much as what we spend for food the whole day. But he'd always set something aside. Told me he wanted to see my paintings in a museum one day.
She pours all of it out. Every little thing she loved and admired about him. Like this, it's easy to see why she has gone to such great lengths for him, why she abandoned her dreams, why she went against his wishes just to grant him another chance at life. Others will say it's her warmth that draws people to her, or her cheer. Neither are wrong, but neither is the whole truth to her either. Because those who have never bothered to look beyond the surface will never see her. See someone earnest, someone who has always meant well, despite her underlying stubbornness. This is how she loves. Warm, steadfast, unflinching. You never meet many people like her, not in my line of work, not with the kind of people I have had to deal with. Always with something to hide, always with something to lie about. Eventually, when you run across too many of them, you change. You become like them. In many ways. For a lot of reasons. She's the kind of person I want to be and be around. Who made me feel I'm still worth something.
He didn't want me to leave. Said, begged. I could finish my studies first. In the end, I couldn't even grant him that one request. I'm a terrible daughter.
You're not.
Huh?
You're not. I can't speak for your dad. I haven't even met the man. But I know you're not.
I'm not entirely sure where I'm going with this. The remark just came out. Now I'm stringing all of this together as I go. But one thing is certain. None of what I'm about to say is a lie.
The Isabella I know is a total klutz, but I've never seen anyone work as hard as she does. She's the type who wears her heart on her sleeve. Though it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's always in the right place. She's intimidated by a lot of stuff, but she knows how to appreciate the smallest things in life. Frankly, you've caused us no small amount of trouble since you barged into our lives. But when I'm with you, all of my worries seem trivial.
Heat has already crept up my face when the turn this whole thing is about to take registers. Before I blurt the rest of it out, declare feelings I'm not even ready to reveal to anyone, much less to her, my hand comes up to smoother the rest of it. Though embarrassment quickly takes the reins before I can completely clamp my mouth shut.
And I'm pretty sure Zach and Becca think the same way. You have a nasty way of growing on people like that, and you know what? We got everything we needed in here. I'll just wipe the security recordings and we're good to go. While I'm at it, you better wipe the snot off your face. And you don't look very nice when you're balding like that.
Hastily, I gather everything. Personal files, client documents, sales agreements, and contracts. Anything my hands could reach. In record time, all of it has been stacked in a neat pile, ready for storage. I'm heading for the records room not a few seconds later. Wherever that is. It should be an easy find unless this place is a maze of some sort, which I highly doubt. Still, we're staying here and seeing the look on her face. Crap. Really, her anger's still bearable. I can take that, including the glow she sends my way.
So, yeah, I'll go get the security videos and put these back where you pulled them from. Man, these are heavy, you know?
Ash, it's just paper. You don't even know where I...
Oh, no, I can handle this. Easy as pie. And, yeah, security cams, tapes, videos, cams. Yeah, I'm off.
Her rejection at this point? Maybe not yet. Okay. Getting the files back to BRC's archive room is a cinch. Okay, but yeah, that was so touching, man. That whole situation. Oh man, that got me quite emotional, I would say. Okay, so yeah, with the documents back in their proper places, I locked the door behind me, tugging it twice just to make sure. Now on to the next order of business. Moving the evidence of our little excursion in here, or at the very least, the parts showing what we have been doing during the past hour. Can't have our faces plastered on security footage showing us breaking the law, as it were. I'm gonna have to wipe the data for Isabella's access card entries too. Surprisingly, finding their security room proves a breeze. What will be tricky is getting inside. The fact that no one has walked out during the whole time we have been here means the room is either empty or their security is sound asleep. I'm banking more on the former. If they are cutting corners and firing agents, I have no doubt that they have fired the guy stationed here, if they have anyone watching the monitors in the first place. It's a rather common thing for establishments. Just leave security recording indefinitely and only check the footage if something actually happens. Just to check, I press my ears against the door, listening for a sign of anyone occupying the room. After a long minute and nothing, I give the knob a few rattles.
Standard lock and key. Should be easy enough to pick.
Yeah, lockpicks set, but those are only to be used if necessary, and with a search warrant, even then, it's a skill set rarely needed. subtly isn't on a cop's priority if they have authority to search the premises. Bolt cutters and brute force are the favored methods. If those fail, we call a locksmith. Me, I prefer the good old hairpin trick when those options are unavailable. Besides, they are easy to hide and store for emergencies. Running my hands through my hair, I pull a pair of bobby pins. I want to learn how to do this because it's so cool to do that. Lock picking like that. Not trying to aim for being a thief or something, but it's just cool in case you get locked in your room and everything. Okay, so two of this, and I can just about open any standard lock. One makes a lever and the other makes a handle. I won't call it a complex skill, but it certainly takes time and a lot of practice to successfully pick a lock. Yeah? Okay. Good thing I have practiced with them for a bit in my college years. I learned more when they are accessible and standard issue for a law enforcement officer. A wiggle here, a click there, and I managed to seize all the pins in the locking mechanism soon enough. With a slight turn of the knob, the security room's ripe for the picking. Okay, the room's odor hits me first, a sharp, nauseating stench, as if someone has accidentally spilled a gallon of bleach in the room. When was the last time they opened this place?
Ugh, this place smells awful. Jesus, it's worse than the forensics lab on a bad day.
Or unless someone is dead in this room. This is probably because of a badly botched effort to clean the place up. Even in the dark, I can spy dark stains on the walls. I really don't have the time to try and play is this ketchup or soda right now, but I have this strange gut feeling who the mess might belong to. As expected, no security personnel mans the office CCTV controls, and the standalone DVR setup is open for anyone. Normally I'd have a heap of things to say about this sloppy security setup, but right now their negligence makes the whole task of erasing evidence easier.
No fuss, no muss.
The next one should be the access card data. Hopefully getting into their computer won't be too much of a hassle. Everything up to now has been smooth sailing. There have been hiccups, I will give it that, though it does nothing to dampen the good mood I am in. Once I shift my attention to the machine sitting next to the DVR setup, all of it swiftly evaporates. I am no computer buff, but I can definitely recognize one more than a decade old. Simply looking at it makes me feel younger. With a heavy sigh, I power it up and mentally prepare myself for a slow slug. Slow apparently remains an understatement here. It takes a whole 3 minutes for the thing to start up. The OS hasn't even started loading, and in my boredom, I start inspecting the live feeds from the cams. Only two works, one for the view outside, everything seems to be in order there, and the other for main workspace, where it's a fleeting glimpse, a cursory glance, but the side of it stops me. The image is a bit blurry, but standing there, right in the middle of the room by one of the cubicles, I can make out the form of
What the hell is...
I don't get too far into that line of thought. No few seconds after my words have spilled out, and without any sort of warning while I'm still trying to make sense of what it is, the figure moves. A moment of paralysis hits me when she stops right in front of the camera like a damn rookie. Oh! I go still in the face of danger. I definitely haven't been trained to handle the supernatural, and this is one, isn't it? And oh man, her eyes bored into me, the malice in them piercing. Even beyond the screen, it's enough to make me go numb. Only the mug crashing to the floor when my hand accidentally takes a swipe at it snaps me out of the trance, reminding me that I'm not the only one here. Yeah, Isabella is in that very room. It seems she hasn't noticed anything. Am I the only one seeing this? In any case, whatever's happening, I have to get her out. Gathering my wits, I quickly reach for my phone. It takes but all 2 seconds before she answers, but there's no time for relief.
Ashton? Did you really have to call? We're practically on the same floor.
Get out of there.
What? What are you...
Out. Get out. I'll meet you in the elevator.
You're creeping me out, Ash.
Just get yourself out of that place, now!
Without second thought, I back away from the controls from the room, ready to be done with this place. But before my foot even moves, she disappears. Oh! Instinct instantly takes over and my hand quickly reaches for the gun at my side, only to meet empty air. A mistake that costs me a few precious seconds while the paperwork I brought with me threatens to scatter everywhere at the same time. Gathering everything and myself once more with no weapon to protect myself, my sense of self-preservation kicks in next and I lunge towards the door. Oh my god, I sprint across the office without daring to look back. Don't. Isabella's already waiting in the front of the elevators by the time I make it out of their office. Worry creases her eyebrows upon glancing at me, but I don't have time to answer the question in her eyes. As soon as I reach her, I grab her arm, practically throw the two of us into the open elevator and slam the button for the ground floor. A sigh of relief escapes from me when the elevator starts its descent. The clicking noise fades off into distance. Besides me, Isabella shifts, moving the stack of papers under her arm while she takes in my appearance. Concerns in her eyes, though all I offer her is a small gesture of my hand while I attempt to compose myself. Breathe. In, out.
Why are we in such a hurry?
We need to get out of this place. Did you get everything?
Yeah, it's all here. But really, you don't look too good. What's wrong, Ash?
Oh, you will know what's wrong.
I'll be fine. I was in the security room. From the monitors, there was a fucking...
Uh-oh. The rest of what I'm about to say dies on my tongue when the elevator stops and the doors open too. There's a moment's pause while we both take in our surroundings. Confusion's understandably there. This is a parking lot.
Oh, come on! They should just replace this whole thing.
No, I'm quite sure I pressed for the ground floor.
Right? But it's just as Isabella said, the elevator always did have problems when I visited in the past, but that's not an elevator problem this time. That was always good for a laugh. I wasn't too worried then. Now, from the distance beyond the light's reach, the noise echoes in my ears along with the rapid pounding in my chest. Isabella stiffens and her eyes grow wide at the sound. Gingerly, she reaches up to grab the hem of my sleeve and grips it, hard, tight, enough for her fingernails to dig through. Her eyes searches widely for the source of the sound while I stand protectively in front of her.
Ash, did you hear that?
Anyone there?
Anyone there?
I can hear you moving from here. Show yourself.
No, don't. Don't tell her to show herself. No response, only the soft sound of something scurrying around the floor and the walls in slow, deliberate movements, faint, though still audible enough in this hush, until it stops. A moment.
We need to go, Ash. We have to.
And then, this time I'm certain it isn't my imagination. Against my training, my whole body freezes. Hands still in mid-press on the button, eyes growing wide while waiting for any sort of movement from further back, and eyes strained for the source of the sound. No, you gotta have to get out quick. I can't even offer Isabella any reassurances. As much as I hate to admit it, dread has seeped into every nerve in my body. And the blasted elevator still won't work. Oh.
This isn't in my training manual.
Ash, we need to leave. I know that sound. Ash, please, get the elevator!
Another series of shuffling against the ground, a laughter, and all of a sudden, she's just there. Uh-oh, look at that! Like a twisted spider, she stares at us, a look of hunger in her eyes and a venom in the twisted manner she smiles. It's so tiny, I can barely see her from here. A glee she has well earned when we are damn flies that have been dropped right on the spider's web.
Ashton!
Damn it!
Without warning, she moves, mocking me with each unhurried crawl she takes, knowing I'm at her mercy.
Oh!
Ashton, the door!
Our lives are in the hands of a crummy elevator literally hanging between life and death. We are not going to die here. Not in a damn elevator. It's a Oh, 3, 5, 8, 7, 2, 4, 6, 1. Oh no! 7, 5, 9, 4, 6. Oh no! Oh my god! No! Oh god! God! That was god awful. No! No! 8, 4, 2, 1, 9! Oh my! Yes! Oh man, that was crazy. As if a divine power has heard me swearing up a storm in my head, the doors close just as that thing looms near. Soon the elevator, the blasted thing, is headed up. Isabella's knees buckle in relief. In 2 ticks, she's hugging herself without any care for the mess of papers and folders she has dropped on the floor in her panic. Oh man, that cutie was the hardest right now. She draws in one ragged breath after another, each one brimming with nothing but relief. And this is the most I have been tired my whole damn life. Not during training, when my superior first asked me to drop 100, not after a stakeout, but after smashing a freaking elevator button repeatedly. I slumped to the ground beside her, worn out, but I don't let myself feel relief again, not until we are out of here. Isabella seems to be of the same mind as she looks to me. Still, I find myself sharing a shaky laugh with her.
We're okay. We're fine. Right?
Yeah, we're good. Alive. We should have taken the goddamn stairs.
Twice. I've seen it. Twice. If I include the party, unless I'm tripping balls without realizing it, there is no doubt in my mind that this is actually happening. Yeah, this is actually happening. Now there is no doubt at all about it. I don't want to believe it, but with the truth staring at me in the face, it will be stupidity to deny the reality of the matter. As soon as the lift hits the ground floor, we hightail out of the building. Seb's sound asleep when we pass by his station. However, in the face of what we have seen, everything I have faced tonight, we really can't care less who will still see us on our way out. The sooner we get away from this place, the farther the better. I'm just not sure if that also means being safe. She almost got us, damn it. The freaking thing almost had us. It was only by luck that we managed to get the freaking elevator unstuck. Had the blasted thing not worked in the last second. I need some fresh air. Fresh, breathable air that doesn't stink like death and gore all at once. I'm panicking. Christ, losing focus. With another person here, I can't afford that right now. Isabella hasn't said anything, but I know she's more shaken than I am. I can't lose it when another person's depending on me.
Remember your training, Frey.
Another deep breath, and soon I'm starting the engines and driving us off. After that little incident, somewhere open would be good. Someplace I won't get trapped. Laxman Park brings a welcome relief, though only by some. The chill that has seeped in my bones is still there, furling and unfurling underneath my skin. If I don't move, if I don't busy myself with anything, soon my brain will go haywire. It's the last thing I want to happen when there are plenty of things to do. But this already answers all of it, doesn't it? Those deaths. How many copies of the letters are out there? Isabella can't have the only one if other people are also getting cursed. Could it be that the one she has shown us is just one of 5? Maybe even more? That whole pass this to 5 people business is ridiculous, but at this point, is it still? All in all, we have found 21 people who might have read the letter, 7 of them deceased, 8 if we count Cooper. And that's only with what we can find right now. We have no idea how the contractors and the specialists hired from the outside the company are doing. If we are in any way affected, how many more people are suffering? How many are missing? How many are dead? Can I still even blame the Wrights for this? If anything, they might be in danger as well. They are, or in fact, Luke only killed Hana, so more of I care less about Luke being in danger. So yeah, I don't think I can wish a curse upon anyone, no matter how big of a scumbag Luke Wright is. There is also that woman. How do we get out of this mess? How do we get away from her? Crap. Still so many things we need to look into, yet all my body wants to do is space, burn out whatever excess energy there is in me.
Ashton, I'm getting dizzy. Will you sit down?
It's the first time Isabella has said anything. She's been sitting quietly since we dropped here. Better and less distracting than watching her nervous habits, I suppose. She certainly seems calm now. Too calm, in fact, for someone who has just seen something terrible. But kinda second time, so she's got a little alright to it. But it's been more than a week for her already. People do get desensitized to things at some point. Even someone like Isabella. Who knows what's going on in her head, though. Inside mine, there are too many and none of them would still sit still.
I'm not going crazy, am I? I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw that. I didn't inhale anything weird. Jeez.
What I'm not expecting when I turn to her is myth. One that she could barely contain. Yeah, she's like, yes, just like me. Yes, you finally believe in me. Talk about making fun of me over on that day now.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
I'm not quite sure what she sees in my face, but in the next second, a laugh suddenly bursts out from her. I'm so sorry. It's just that you should have seen the look on your face back there. Yes, right, sure. I'm not the one who panicked. You almost ripped my arm off. Yeah, but... Isabella, this isn't funny. That woman almost got us. We could have ended up dead.
I know! I'm really sorry. But this is just too precious to miss. You really lost your for a moment there.
You're trying to get back at me, aren't you?
Well, I'm not the one who kept calling someone scaredy cat for years. How does it feel?
I'm not scared.
Really? Because it doesn't seem that way to me. At all.
I'm not, alright? I'm just... I just don't know what to do right now.
Immediately after, the moment passes, replaced by another tense silence. Laughter dies in our lips as everything sinks in. We are in deep stuff, and it has finally caught up and hit us like a ton of bricks. Hit me more than anyone. Because she has been warning us of this since day one, and I'm the first person who brushed it off. Not the first, like, there were, I'm pretty sure, one more who brushed it off just like you. But yeah, just like you, yeah, have realized she was never wrong in the first place. Despite that, she still reaches out to me, tugging at my sleeve almost desperately. Her hands are trembling and there's a tremor in her voice when she speaks up. Without the cheer, only fear remains. One that she has been burdened with from the beginning.
We're still going to do something about it, right? Not just stand around and let that thing get us.
Unexpectedly, she leans her forehead against my arm, and her grip on my sleeve tightens. There is desperation in there, a quiet plea.
I don't want to lose anyone anymore, Ash.
I wish I could give her that promise, but with so many unknowns, so many things I don't understand about this, how could I? Why she still trusts that I can do something about this baffles me. It all feels wholly undeserved, considering the way I have treated her. Yet despite my reluctance, I find myself returning her hold in kind. A grasp, warm and light enough for her comfort. Not a promise, but the closest thing to it. Okay, so it's Sunday, and I guess it's a good time to end the episode right here. So hopefully you enjoyed. Oh wow, this episode was so good. That last bit was pretty tense, and loved Ash's reaction to all of it till here. Just like Isabella, I was like, ah yes. But yeah, we will see about what's gonna come up next. And I'm pretty sure the things coming up from here are gonna be really crazy, considering yeah, we are at, and since as you can see we are at Sunday, that is October 13. Now there are only 2 more days left, and till now, till this very arc, we have never got to see what happens on Monday and Tuesday, and this is the very day where it makes sense that Ash calls everyone to be like, hey guys, come up over here. Things have gone crazy. We gotta have to do something about this. And yeah, it makes sense why he calls Rebecca and Zach for whatever is gonna happen in the next episode. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please click that like button, subscribe for more awesome content, comment down below your thoughts, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Shabakar.